Welcome to the deep dive. We're doing what we always do, taking information, finding the important bits for you, the listener.
Making sense of it quickly.
Exactly. And today, that info comes straight from the RubyMine blog. It's all about their latest update, version 2025.1.
Yep. Think of it as the cheat sheet for this release. How it can help with Ruby and Rails dev.
Our mission, really, is just to pull out those essential insights, get you up to speed fast.
Right. We've read the announcements so you don't have to wade through it all. We're focusing on the toolkit upgrades that could, genuinely change how you code day to day.
Okay, so the first big thing seems to be the AI assistant. Sounds like a pretty major step up.
It really does. And what's quite interesting is how they're making it more accessible.
Accessible how?
Well, some key AI features like code completion and support for local models, they're now free. Unlimited use, apparently.
Wow, okay. Free and unlimited. That could definitely shift how people use AI in RubyMine.
For sure. It might just become like, a standard part of the workflow for a lot more developers, not just a premium feature.
Yeah, makes sense. But it's not just free, right? They're making it smarter too. I saw something about RBS assistants.
Yes, exactly. Powered by their own model, Melum, I think it's called.
Millum, okay.
And if you've ever found RBS-type signatures, a bit of a headache.
Yeah. Guilty.
Ha, yeah. Well, this sounds like it could be a real help. Instead of wrestling with the syntax, you can just describe what you need.
In plain English. Seriously.
That's what they say. Describe it in the editor, and the AI assistant should generate the RBS code for you. Like having a helper who gets both what you want and the tricky RBS details.
Okay, that is compelling. And it ties into the improved suggestions too, right? With error checks and syntax highlighting.
Exactly. So the code completions it gives you are more likely to be correct, to actually fit your code properly.
Quality matters there. You don't want AI just throwing random stuff at you.
Precisely. If it saves time and prevents errors, that's when it's truly useful. They seem to be aiming for a reliable partner, helping you write better code.
And you've got more choice in which AI you use. They mentioned Claude.
Claude 3.7 Sonnet, yeah, and Gemini 2.0 Flash. More advanced models.
So you can pick the brain for the job? Sort of.
That's a good way to put it. Different models have different strengths, right? Maybe one's better for creative stuff, another for optimization. Gives you options.
But the thing that really jumped out at me personally was the offline mode. Using, what was it, Alama?
Balama and LM Studio local models, yeah.
Think about that. AI help even when you're offline,
Yes.
on a plane, bad Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that tackles a big limitation of cloud AI, doesn't it? The need for constant internet. Supporting local models means those AI features are there when you need them, wherever. It's a huge plus.
And the AI chat got smarter too. Finding files, suggesting where to put code.
Yeah, and it's got an apply button. Seems small, but it streamlines things.
How does it know where to suggest putting the code?
Well, it sounds like it's better at understanding your project's context now. Minimizes you having to copy, paste, figure out the right spot. Less friction.
Right, less manual work. And more context-aware generally.
Yeah.
Something about RAG.
Yeah. RAG-based retrieval. Basically, it looks at files you've used recently so it has a better idea of your current task.
Ah, okay. So it's not just using its general knowledge, it's looking at my current work.
Kind of like giving it tailored research material for what you're doing right now. Plus, you can set up an .ignore file.
To tell it what not to look at.
Exactly. Keep it focused, stop it getting distracted by irrelevant bits of the project, should mean more accurate suggestions.
Okay, cool. Let's shift gears a bit. Away from AI, what about core Ruby support? It mentions Ruby 3.4.
Yep. Staying up to date, the blog highlights specific warnings, things like constant creation issues or global namespace changes.
Stuff that could bite you later if you're not careful.
Right. And better error messages, too, for keyword and block arguments in index assignments. It's about catching potential problems early as you adopt 3.4.
Makes sense. And a practical one, ASDF support. Looks like they fixed some issues there.
Yeah, apparently there was some recognition problems with interpreters installed via ASDF version 0.16 and up. That's sorted now.
Good. Those little integration fixes make a real difference day to day.
Absolutely. Compatibility with tools like ASDF just makes the whole environment smoother, less frustrating.
Okay, Rails folks weren't forgotten either, right? Kamal updates.
That's right. For anyone using Kamal for deployment, the deploy.aml schema is updated. Supports Kamal 2.4.0 and 2.5.0 directly.
So a smoother deployment process if you're on the latest Kamal.
Should be, yeah. More seamless, less likely to hit compatibility snags.
And some tweaks around Rails generators and rake tasks. More control.
Yeah, you can now turn off the automatic refreshing if you want.
Why would you do that?
Well, in really big projects, maybe those background refreshes have a tiny performance hit. Now you can choose to just reload them manually when you need to.
Okay, options are good.
And a small UX thing, loading errors for those tasks. They now show up as balloon notifications, not those modal windows that interrupt everything.
Oh, that is nicer. Less disruptive.
Subtle, but definitely welcome. Keeps you in the flow.
Speaking of user experience, native Windows file dialogs. That's new.
Default now, yeah. Should feel more natural for Windows users. Though you can switch back if you prefer the old ones.
Right, sticking to platform conventions.
Like
That's
this.
it. Creating new files. Something's faster there.
Yeah, the little plus icon in the project window. Click that, and you get a searchable pop-up with file templates.
Oh, nice. Instead of digging through menus.
Exactly. Find the template you need quick. Just speeds up a common task.
And plugins update automatically now in the background.
Yep. One less thing to manage manually. Keeps your environment up to date with bug fixes and features without you having to stop and update them.
Handy. Okay, version control. A change there. Something about the commit interface.
Right, the modal commit window, the separate pop-up, it's not bundled by default anymore,
Oh.
but you can still get it.
Yeah, it's available as a separate plugin if you really like that workflow. AB suggests they prefer the non-modal approach now, but the option's still there.
Gotcha. And the diff view is better.
Enhanced, yeah. Shows commit details directly in the diff.
So you can see who changed what and when right there while comparing versions.
Exactly. Makes it easier to understand the history of a file, why a change was made. Super useful for code archaeology.
Definitely. Okay, last big area, remote development. Sounds like some good stuff there too.
Yeah, seems like a focus area. Big one is built-in container file recognition.
Container file, like Docker file.
Yeah, but it recognizes syntax for Docker, Podman, and Buildah, all in the same kind of file. Syntax highlighting, linting, suggestions, the works.
More flexibility for different container setups then.
Right. And maybe the most important bit for remote dev. They're reporting improved editing performance.
Less lag.
That's the goal. Reduce latency for typing, highlighting, formatting. Those little delays can be so annoying in remote setups. Oh, tell me about it. A smoother remote experience is huge.
Definitely. Makes it feel much closer to working locally. Less friction, less frustration.
Okay, so wrapping up then, RubyMine 2025.1. It really feels like a substantial update, doesn't it?
It does. Lots going on. Big push on AI, obviously, making it more powerful and more accessible.
Right, the free tier, the local models, the smarter suggestions.
Plus, solid updates for the latest Ruby and Rails, those UX tweaks that smooth things out.
The native dialogs, faster file creation, background updates.
And that focus on making remote development less painful. Yeah, it adds up.
Seems like a pretty significant toolkit upgrade for Ruby and Rails devs.
I'd say so. This deep dive, pulling from that blog post, it paints a picture of, integrating AI smartly, but also just refining that core coding experience, trying to boost your productivity, basically.
Yeah, makes sense. Which brings us to our final thought for you listening. With AI getting baked deeper and deeper into tools like this, how is that going to change things?
Right. How might it change the way you actually approach coding day to day? Or solve problems?
Maybe we're thinking about which of these new features, the AI chat, the offline models, the RBS help, might actually fit into your workflow.
Yeah, maybe give some of them a try. See how it feels. Could be interesting.
Definitely something to mull over. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.